for getting into a screaming match with my niece's imaginary friend at 3 a.m. in a haunted motel and scaring my family so bad they made us leave. Okay, so buckle up. This is gonna sound fake as hell. But I promise on my late grandma's salt and pepper shakers that every word is true, or at least true-ish. I 3 a.m. on a summer road trip with my sister 36F, her husband 37M, their daughter Ellie 7F, and our mom 68F. It was supposed to be this bonding thing across the Midwest family memories. Weird roadside attractions, classic Americana vibes, instead. It's turned into Scooby-Doo meets The Shining with a guest appearance by an extremely pissed-off 7-year-old. The drama started 2 nights ago at this crusty, off-brand motel in rural Illinois. Think Bates Motel, but with less charm. We pulled in late, everyone was exhausted, and the place was cheap. $49.99 a night. It smelled like boiled ham and despair. That's when Ellie, my niece, casually says, "Oh, this is where Gary lives." We're like, who the hell is Gary? Turns out Gary is her new friend who likes hiding in the walls, y'all. I don't do ghosts. I especially don't do wall ghosts named Gary. My sister just rolls her eyes like she's imaginative and puts her to bed. But within an hour, stuff starts happening. The bathroom light keeps flicking on and off. My toothpaste disappears and reappears in the mini fridge. Someone keeps whispering "buckle up, buttercup" when I walk by the air conditioner. I ask my brother-in-law if he's messing with me. He's too busy trying to fix the remote with a butter knife. Mom's asleep with a face mask on and earplugs like she's in a spa, not a haunted Cracker Barrel offshoot. Ellie's just sitting calmly in her bed like a little haunted Wednesday Addams, petting a headless Barbie and going, "Gary likes you." Cue me losing my actual mind at 3:12 a.m. when my phone screen starts typing on its own. Knock, knock. I'm in the vent. I screamed. Like full-grown man fighting a bear scream. And here's where I might be the asshole. I yelled, I admit, very loudly something like, "Gary, I swear to God, if you don't leave me alone, I will yeet your ghostly ass back to the afterlife." And then I threw a pillow at the air vent. Ellie screamed bloody murder, not scared. Offended. She goes, "You apologize to Gary right now." He's sensitive and starts sobbing. My sister comes flying in, all rage and conditioner fumes, screaming at me for traumatizing her child. Brother-in-law says I invited bad energy. Mom wakes up just long enough to say, "You always were dramatic, even in the womb," and goes back to sleep. Now my whole family is pissed. We left that motel at 4:30 a.m. Ellie hasn't spoken to me since. She keeps giving me little drawings of gravestones with my name on them. Pretty sure Gary helped with shading. I think it was just a prank-loving ghost or possibly Ellie messing with me. But I'm apparently the villain now for insulting him. So Reddit. AITA for yelling at my niece's ghost friend and accidentally causing a family meltdown? Update 2. AITA for yelling at my niece's ghost friend Gary. He followed us to another state, and now Ellie is negotiating with him like a tiny mob boss. Hey again, Reddit. If you missed my first post, long story short, I yelled at my 7-year-old niece's imaginary ghost friend Gary in a crusty motel in Illinois, and now the whole family is mad at me. I got roasted in the comments, dragged on TikTok, yes. I saw the video of the girl lip-syncing to "Buckle Up, Buttercup," and my sister hasn't let me drive since. Anyway, we're now in Indiana, which is honestly already haunted by default if you've ever been to a gas station there. We checked into a much nicer place family suite, free breakfast, and 0 visible murder mirrors. But guess what? Gary's back. It started subtle this time. Ellie asked if she could sleep with her ghost protection duck, a rubber duck she named Carl, who allegedly wards off low-level spirits but makes Gary giggle, okay. Cute, right? Except that night, all the TVs in the room turned on at the exact same time. Volume maximum. Channel static. It was like the universe was yelling at me through white noise. I tripped over a suitcase trying to turn off the TV and bashed my knee into the corner of the mini-fridge. It made a noise like a dying walrus. Ellie pops up from her bed, calm as a cryptid, and goes, "Oh. Gary's here. He says he likes Indiana because it smells like meat." My sister is laughing. My brother-in-law thinks it's adorable. Let my mom. DED is asleep again with cucumber slices on her eyelids like this is a sandals resort and not a haunted Chucky. Jesus, I decide to call Gary's bluff. I say very politely, "Mind you, Gary, please find a new host body." Maybe try the vending machine, and that's when my niece claps her hands once, looks at the air vent, and whispers, "Don't make him angry." You remember what happened last time. I swear to God, Reddit, I peed a little. Then she pulls out this little notebook she's apparently been keeping. It's got a hand-drawn contract titled, Ghost Rules, Gary Edition. Rules include no loud noises after midnight, no hiding shoes in the ceiling, no drawing eyeballs on Uncle Jake's me forehead while he sleeps. She flips to a new page and goes, Gary wants to renegotiate. He wants to ride in the front seat and pick snacks at the next gas station. He'll stop the nightmares if you apologize again and buy him beef jerky. I blink, I laugh. My sister, dead serious. Just do it. She hasn't slept-walked once since he came back. I was like, what do you mean since he came back? So now I'm standing in the Family Dollar parking lot in my socks, buying Slim Jims and muttering apologies to the ghost that's apparently touring the Midwest with us. Ellie gives him the snacks, thanks me on Gary's behalf, and goes, good choice. He was about to cut the brakes. She skipped away after that like it was totally normal ghost diplomacy. So that, yeah, I'm the designated ghost whisperer now. Ellie's some kind of spooky ambassador. My mom is doing Wordle and ignoring all of it. And I've been demoted to passenger seat beef jerky servant. I don't even know what subreddit this belongs on anymore. But for those asking, yes, Ellie still draws me gravestones. Latest one had a little Gary in the corner saying, see you in Michigan. Wish me luck. Update 3. AITA for yelling at my niece's ghost friend. Gary got jealous of a different ghost, and now my 7-year-old niece is acting like she runs a paranormal daycare. Hey, Ghost Fam, it's me again, Uncle Jake, haunted road trip survivor and unwilling snack liaison for a spirit named Gary who's now been following us across 3 states like a spooky groupie. Quick recap, my niece Ellie 7F has a ghost friend named Gary who hides in air vents, demands beef jerky, and may or may not be real. I offended him in Illinois. He followed us to Indiana. Now we're in Michigan, and things have gone from goofy haunting to ghost turf war. We rolled into a historic bed and breakfast in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, which already feels like a place ghosts go to retire. It's old, creaky, and full of dusty wallpaper and doilies that smell like regret. Ellie takes one look around and goes, Gary doesn't like it here. He says someone else already lives in the walls awesome. First night, it's quiet. Too quiet. No ghost pranks. No whispered threats. Even Gary goes radio silent. Then at 2 a.m., I hear piano music. Like actual piano, full melody. The B&B has a tiny upright in the lobby, but no one should be playing it. I look out the peephole, no one's there. But the music keeps going. Ellie wakes up and mutters, oh no. Sylvia's awake. Excuse me? Who is Sylvia? Turns out Ellie has decided or discovered. I don't even know anymore that the house is already claimed by another ghost Sylvia who used to run a boarding house for widowed factory workers and hates loud ghosts with no manners. So basically, Gary's in trouble with the whole of the afterlife. Next morning, Gary gets petty. My toothbrush is now covered in glitter. My mom's crossword puzzle was filled in backward and only in Latin. Ellie opens her cereal and finds it full of Legos. She calmly says, that wasn't Sylvia. That was Gary being rude because she called him a dusty little drama fart. And now Ellie, my 7-year-old niece who still can't reach the top shelf, is trying to mediate a ghost rivalry. She makes a chart on the back of a placemat titled Gary Versus. Sylvia, peace plan, with bullet points like, Gary must whisper softly. Sylvia must stop floating her spooky perfume under the door, no more drawing mustaches on the family portraits. In the hallway, she holds a meeting in the hallway closet. Which she says is neutral territory. I walked past and heard her saying, that's just I feel statements, not hexes. I heard whispers in response, y'all. Actual whispers. Like the sound of someone stirring tea in a dream. She comes out 20 minutes later, holding her Barbie like a gavel, and goes, they've agreed to share the house. But Gary wants a formal apology from Sylvia, and Sylvia wants Gary to stop humming during thunderstorms. My sister thinks this is great growth for Ellie's imagination. My mom just wants to know if ghosts can help with her sciatica, and me? I just want to not be involved in a supernatural custody battle between the ghosts and a first grader who acts like she's running you in peace talks with juice boxes. Ellie handed me a drawing this morning. It's Gary and Sylvia shaking hands over a campfire with a speech bubble that says, even the dead can compromise. The campfire is made of Slim Jims. I don't even know who I am anymore. I used to be cool. I used to be an extra in a Nissan commercial. Now I'm Googling, can ghosts file restraining orders? We're heading to Wisconsin next. Ellie said Gary is feeling tense and wants to reconnect with nature. If I get haunted by a forest ghost, I'm sleeping in the car. Update for AITA for yelling at my niece's ghost friend. Now Gary's the one being haunted, and I'm stuck camping with a ghost that cries over granola. Hey, ghost fans, trauma tourists, and folks who keep DMING me about starting a podcast, don't tempt me. It's ya boy Jake, still trapped in this cross-country ghost diplomacy tour with my 7-year-old niece Ellie, who continues to be the only person in our family with any actual authority. We're now in Wisconsin. My brother-in-law booked us a rustic family camping experience at a state park. I don't do camping. I like toilets. I like plugs. I like doors that ghosts can't float through. Ellie, of course, was thrilled. Gary, less so. When we got to the site, Ellie stepped out of the car, took a deep breath of pine-scented air, and goes, Gary says this place smells like divorce and forest trauma. He wants to sleep in the glove compartment. By our 3, things got weird. The trees started creaking, but only when I stood near them. The campfire wouldn't light unless Ellie said, please out loud, my marshmallow bag. Mysteriously filled with raisins, we all assumed it was just Gary being cranky again, until Ellie dropped a bombshell. Gary says there's someone else here. Someone older, someone sad. Are you kidding me? Wisconsin. Ellie nicknamed this new presence Wally, short for Wallace the Weeping Whisperer, and said he's a former park ranger who got left behind when the forest moved on. She said Gary's scared of Wally. Actually scared. First time Gary's been quiet since Illinois. Ellie even drew me a chart. Gary, petty, annoying, loves jerky Sylvia, fancy, strict, hates Gary Wally, sad, ghost of trees, cries moss. Ellie explained that Wally doesn't haunt in the traditional sense, he just lingers and stares. Gary apparently hates being stared at. He kept flickering the flashlight like Morse code tantrums and refused to come out of the air mattress. That night, I got up to pee and swear I saw a dark shape near the woodpile. No footsteps, no sound. Just staring. The air felt wet like soggy socks on your soul. I crawled back into the tent and said, Ellie, I think Wally's outside. Without blinking, she goes, Gary says he feels spiritually observed. He wants to go home. Reader, I have never related to Gary more. The next morning, Ellie set up a group therapy circle with 3 rocks, Gary, a pinnacle Sylvia, who zoomed in, a soggy mitten Wally, and a leaf with googly eyes neutral ghost support entity named Kevin. She sat them all down, crossed her legs, and said, let's express our ghost feelings in a safe and respectful space. No haunting, no judging, no floating through trees. Then she passed out trail mix and made everyone do trust falls, including me, who had to catch a rock, a pinnacle, and a damp mitten while my sister filmed it like we're in some PBS Kids show called Ghost Scouts. Afterlife edition. The kicker? That night, everything stopped. No creaks. No flickering. The fire started on the first try. Ellie looked pleased. She said Gary and Wally came to an understanding. Gary taught him how to prank squirrels. Wally let him cry near the moss, so now I guess we're just out here emotionally rehabilitating dead people as a family activity. Also, I found another drawing in my bag. It's me, roasting marshmallows with Gary, Sylvia, Wally, and a 4th ghost she hasn't introduced yet. Underneath it says, coming soon, you guys. There's going to be a sequel ghost. We're headed to Minnesota next. I don't know what's in Minnesota lakes. Said lumberjack spirits? A vengeful loon? I'll keep you posted. Unless Gary fills my phone with bees first. Update 5. AITA for yelling at my niece's ghost friend. We stayed in a mall hotel with cursed animatronics, and now Ellie is trying to get Gary hauntploy. Hey again from the haunted highways of the American Midwest. If you're just tuning in, I yelled at my niece's ghost buddy Gary in a Motel 5 states ago, and now I'm basically the reluctant stepdad of a supernatural sitcom. This week's adventure, Minnesota. We stayed at one of those weirdly huge hotels attached to a mall. Like mini amusement park and indoor log flume next to a sunglass hut levels of chaos. Ellie was living her best life, Gary, unclear. Until we walked past the hotel arcade and she stopped cold. Gary doesn't like that bear, she said. I looked. It was one of those creepy Chucky. Cheese-style animatronic mascots, grimy, glassy-eyed, wearing a 90s vest and a permanent expression of I saw your sins, Tyler. That night, we heard music. Bad music. Like off-key carnival music mixed with the sound of a Furby dying. I got up to investigate because I'm an idiot, and the animatronic bear was moving. Unplugged. Lights off, bear, grooving. Ellie popped up behind me like a tiny horror movie narrator and whispered, that's Yambori Barry. He doesn't like freeloading ghosts in his turf. Gary, apparently, was trying to haunt the arcade. Barry the bear? Already claimed it. Now we had a mall ghost turf war brewing. The next morning, I found all my receipts printed with Gary out. Barry and Ellie said Barry's passive-aggressive. He uses the receipt printer to assert dominance. I asked if we should, leave. Ellie, no. Gary just needs a job. He's been freeloading. Maybe if he had ghost responsibilities, he wouldn't mess with your toiletries, reader. My 7-year-old niece made a resume for a ghost. It had bullet points like skilled in minor poltergeist, activity excellent at hiding remote controls, emotionally growing, can now share haunting space with others. Available nights and weekends, she marched right into the hotel's front desk with it printed out and asked to submit an application for her ghost friend Gary. To haunt the second-floor laundry room, the woman behind the desk blinked and said, what kind of experience does he have with commercial appliances without missing a beat? Ellie goes, he's haunted 3 states. A forest and 1 emotionally damaged air fryer. He's ready for the next level, y'all. They actually took the paper. The manager laughed, taped it to the break room bulletin board, and gave Ellie a voucher for a free ice cream cone. Later that night, all the dryers in the laundry room started playing Careless Whisper at the same time. Gary had claimed his new turf. Ellie beamed like a proud mom at a haunted graduation. He just needed purpose, she said, patting her rubber duck car like a motivational ghost whisperer. Even Yambori Barry chilled out after that. His eyes stopped glowing red. The receipt printer just printed smiley faces. But before we left, Ellie gave me another drawing. This one had Gary in a tiny ghost suit and tie, holding a clipboard and haunting a cubicle. A speech bubble read, I see you didn't CC me, Deborah. I don't know what kind of haunting she's planning next, but we're heading to South Dakota. Ellie says Gary wants to see some bones and contemplate mortality, probably Mount Rushmore. Hopefully not a haunted Denny's. Update 6, add TA for yelling at my niece's ghost friend. Gary is now semi-famous on TikTok, and Ellie gave a TED Talk to a room full of ghosts in South Dakota. I can't believe I'm still updating this, but here we are. Welcome to the Exorcism by Road Trip Tour, now rolling through South Dakota, where we've somehow gone from paranormal drama to full-on ghost-based influencer marketing. Quick recap, my niece Ellie 7F has a ghost friend named Gary who I once yelled at in a motel. Since then, Gary has followed us across 6 states, met other ghosts, started haunting recreationally, and apparently developed a work ethic. He also recently got a job haunting a hotel laundry room, yes, really, and might now have a fan base. So, we're in South Dakota, doing full tourist mode bad souvenirs, buffalo burgers, and weird roadside attractions. You know the type, see the world's largest porcelain gnome, or the singing cactus of doom, stuff no one asked for. We stopped at this place called the Mystery Caverns of Forgotten Time, which is 40% cave, 60% gift shop, and 100% cursed. As soon as we walked in, Ellie stops and goes completely still. Gary says, they're waiting, for what? Turns out, this place is a hotbed of ghost activity, forgotten pioneer ghosts, prankster minor ghosts, and one really bitter goat farmer spirit who haunts the fudge samples. Ellie looks around the dusty souvenir cave and announces, Gary wants to teach them ghost boundaries, teach them. That's right. She planned a seminar. Ellie took an empty room meant for historical slideshows, taped up a sign that said ghost etiquette and co-haunting strategies, and proceeded to deliver a PowerPoint presentation using finger puppets and a flashlight. Topics included floating through walls without being rude, possessing objects, consent matters, sharing a human host, how to take turns without causing nosebleeds. I watched this child as 2nd grader stand in front of a dusty projector screen and say, Gary reminds us that haunting is a privilege, not a right, and y'all, the lights flickered in approval. Then it got worse. People filmed it and posted it. And now Gary is trending on TikTok. The audio of Ellie saying, respect the living or lose your haunting privileges, is now a sound people are using over videos of their pets knocking stuff off counters. Someone made a dance. Someone else made a ghost HR hotline parody account. Gary is now a hashtag. Hashtag Gary, they just hashtag haunt with respect, hashtag spirited leadership. We were just trying to buy some saltwater taffy, and now we've got influencers DMI and GLE like, can Gary collab with my haunted doll? Meanwhile, my mom, who still doesn't fully understand any of this, told a stranger at a rest stop that her granddaughter is mentoring the dead. And my sister is weirdly proud like this is a college extracurricular. I asked Ellie if Gary liked being famous. She shrugged and said, he says he's happy, but overwhelmed. He'd like to haunt a quieter space next. Maybe a library. With snacks, and I just nodded. Like that was a normal sentence. Because this is my life now. Final insult? I opened my duffel bag this morning and found a custom-printed t-shirt that said, I screamed at a ghost, and all I got was this existential crisis underneath was a sticky note from Ellie. Gary says thanks for believing in him. Even when you didn't, we're going to Colorado next. Ellie says Gary wants to commune with the mountains and do some inner shadow work. I'm afraid to ask what that means. Update 7. AITA for yelling at my niece's ghost friend. We went to Colorado, and Gary entered his ghost healing era with the help of a ghost goat therapist, and now Ellie's writing a ghost self-help book. Hi again, from the scenic chaos that is our family vacation/supernatural road trip series. To recap for any new readers, I yelled at my niece's imaginary ghost friend Gary. Now we're in our 7th state. He's gone semi-viral, gained emotional depth, and my 7-year-old niece Ellie is apparently a paranormal life coach. Now we're in Colorado, staying at a cabin in the Rockies. Gorgeous views, thin air. Vibes, mystical aunt with a crystal shop meets forest cryptid commune. Ellie insisted we come here because, in her words, Gary needs to ground his ectoplasm and reconnect with his death shadow. My mom thought she said ground his elbows and offered him a heating pad. We pulled into this weird little artist retreat, large yoga mats on the porch, dream catchers in the trees. And someone named Skylar Moon at the front desk who handed Ellie a mug that said energy first. Then email, that night. While I was trying to toast marshmallows over a tiny fire pit with matchbook-sized flames. Ellie came up behind me and whispered, Gary met someone. Her name is BAA. I turned slowly, expecting another ghost child or floating Victorian hatchet. Nope. It's a goat. A literal ghost goat named Ba. Ellie explained that BAA is a therapist spirit animal who used to belong to a reclusive poet who died here in the 80s. Now she helps lost entities reconnect with their inner stillness through spiritual munching and therapeutic bleats, you guys. I actually listened as Ellie sat in a circle with Gary, Ba, and 3 pinnacones she said were Gary's unresolved traumas. She instructed Ba to lead the emotional excavation. Ba stared into the distance and let out a soft Ellie. BA says Gary's still holding out her shame from his Illinois era. He needs to forgive himself for the toothpaste incident. I wanted to laugh. I really did. But Gary visibly flickered like a sparkler with feelings. Ellie guided him through ghost breathwork, basically her humming, while spinning in a circle and said, Release what no longer serves you into the ether. I swear a chill breeze whooshed past. And the pinnacones rolled away. Reader, I don't know how much longer I can live like this. The next day, she handed me a 12-page handwritten draft titled, Beyond the Boo, How to Be a Better Ghost and Ghost Uncle by Grace, age 7 3/4 chapters include Haunt with Intention Poltergeist. Not pulverize the eerie path to emotional growth be more than a boost. She asked me to edit it for tone because, don't we know how to make things sound less adult scared, I said, Ellie. I'm not scared of ghosts. She just smiled and said, I wasn't talking about Gary. What does? That mean? Anyway, the cabin now smells like sage and ghost goat. Gary has stopped hiding my socks, and last night I found a sticky note on my pillow that said, Thanks for not giving up on me. I'm learning. Gia had tiny hoof prints next to it from Ba. Next stop is New Mexico. Ellie says Gary wants to experience ancient vibrations and eat ghost churros. Sure. At this point, if she says we're attending a haunted spirit rave in the desert, I'm just packing glow sticks and nodding. Update 8. AITA for yelling at my niece's ghost friend. We went to a haunted desert art festival, and now Gary's mentoring baby ghosts while Ellie runs a literal paranormal startup. Hi again, from somewhere between dust, destiny, and delirium. Quick refresher for those of you who keep sending me ghost fan art. Yes, I see it. Yes, Gary loves it. My 7-year-old niece Ellie made friends with a ghost named Gary on a family road trip. I yelled at him once. That was 7 states ago. Since then, Gary has pranked me into therapy, made a truce with a haunted animatronic bear. Gained viral fame on TikTok, had a breakdown in Colorado with a ghost goat therapist, found purpose through Ellie's Haunt with Respect campaign. Now we're in New Mexico. And somehow this entire saga has leveled up from silly haunted vacation to ghost-led grassroots. Emotional wellness movement. We came here for a break. Just a little stargazing, maybe some green chili stew, right wrong. We ended up at this outdoor art festival in the middle of the desert, one of those temporary installations where people bring mirrors, sound sculptures, wine-powered light towers, and deep vibes. It's like Burning Man's ghost cousin. Within hours of arriving, Ellie goes full visionary mode. Gary says the veil is thin here. The young ones are gathering. I'm like, what young ones? Well, apparently there's a whole batch of baby ghosts here. Freshly awakened, confused, and still tied to Earth through strong snack attachments and unfinished naps. Ellie takes it upon herself to run a spiritual orientation booth. No, I'm not kidding. She sets up a folding chair and a cardboard sign that says, New Ghost? Need guidance? Ask Gary, and then it starts happening. Lights flicker gently when someone walks by. A sand swirl spells out hi. People start feeling weirdly emotional next to a tumbleweed. A woman burst into tears next to a sculpture made of forks. Ellie pats her arm and says, that was Jasper. He's 6. He died during a lunchbox-related incident and really misses art class. Gary, our once Betty Wall ghost, is now calmly helping these newbie spirits find their vibe. He's mentoring. Mentoring! I saw him rearrange wind chimes into Morse code poetry. Then Ellie declared she's launching a ghost startup. She's calling it Hauntwise, tagline, for the modern ghost. She's building a whole spirit growth curriculum on her iPad. Ghost 101, ethics, and entryways boo but make it balanced. Emotional reg. Elation for the restless dead snack attachment therapy haunting for good, from spook to support. She even recruited Gary to be her VP of ethereal outreach. My sister is fully on board. She's designing merch. My mom started wearing a ghost grandma pin. I tried to bow out. I really did. I sat in the shade with a cold drink and a paper fan. Ellie walked up to me, handed me a clipboard, and said, You're now head of logistics and human relations, also snap procurement. Gary likes. Churros. Last night, under a sky so clear it hurt, we sat around a solar-powered art sculpture shaped like a jellyfish. Ellie read aloud from her self-published ghost guidebook. Gary flickered gently next to her like a porch light with feelings. A dust devil spun past with the faint smell of marshmallows. She closed with, being dead doesn't mean you're done. Sometimes it's just the start of being real, reader. I cried, not hard, but like one emotional ghost tear. And then no joke Ellie pointed at a star and said, that's where Gary's going next. He wants to help the ones up there. And then I found a note under my pillow. Thanks for everything, Jake. You were always part of the haunting. She draw next to it, a tiny ghost spaceship, a churro. And me, smiling. We head back home tomorrow. But something tells me this won't be the end. Because today, Ellie told me there's a spirit in the airport bathroom. He's very polite. His name is Douglas. Final update, AITA for yelling at my niece's ghost friend. Gary said goodbye, Ellie gave a TEDx talk, and now our town has a community center for ghosts. One wish I were joking. Hi, Ghost Gang. This is the final update from your favorite unwilling paranormal project manager, Uncle Jake. 9 updates ago, I yelled at my niece's imaginary friend Gary in a crusty motel. That ghost has since haunted us across 8 states, made peace with a haunted bear and a goat therapist, gained viral fame on TikTok, mentored baby spirits in the desert, and helped launch Hauntwise, a fully trademarked ghost ethics startup led by my terrifyingly competent 7-year-old niece. Ellie, now we're back home. Suburbs, strip malls. The faint smell of driveway chalk and lawn fertilizer. You'd think it would all fade here. That Gary would move on. That Ellie would return to coloring and goldfish crackers and normal kid things. But no. Ellie gave a TEDx talk. Our local middle school had a community youth voices event. Ellie applied with her own topic, unfinished business. Why ghosts deserve better, and so do we. She walked out on stage in a little black dress and glittery bat barrettes, holding a rubber duck named Carl and a PowerPoint remote shaped like a wand, I swear. She owned the room. She told the story of Gary not as a joke, but as a tale of grief, confusion, pranks, and growth. She talked about ghost consent, about not assuming your house is haunted maliciously, about how everyone, living or dead, just wants to be heard, and at the end, she said, Gary helped me be brave. Now I want to help others haunt with heart. She got a standing ovation. Someone from the mayor's office was there. There's now serious talk of funding a local spiritual wellness resource center, a.k.a. a haunted community center with an open floor plan and possibly an emotional support vending machine. As for Gary, we said goodbye last week. It was just me and Ellie on the back porch. She brought out Gary's resume, the haunted plush duck, and his favorite snack, a single slim Jim tied in a ribbon. She said, Gary's ready. He wants to help spirits on the other side now. Like the real one. Not just a vending machine. She looked at the stars. closed her eyes, whispered, "It's okay. You did enough," and then every wind chime in our yard jingled at the exact same time. Even the broken one. The next morning, my phone buzzed. "One last note in the Notes app. You were never the asshole. Just a skeptic. Thanks for driving." Jack cried again to me. Since then, things have been quiet, but not empty. Ellie still draws spirits in her notebook. She says she's mentoring to beginner poltergeists online. My mom joined a ghost Facebook group and keeps saying my grandson Gary by accident. And my sister has started casually referring to Ellie as a paranormal consultant. And me? I got a job offer from a podcast company. They want me to host a show called Ghosted, Family Fear, and Finding Gary. I told them I'd think about it. But deep down, I already know the answer. Because Gary's not just a ghost anymore. He's a story, a memory. A Slim Jim in the wind. And I'll keep telling that story because sometimes the thing that haunts you is also what heals you. Thanks for following along, Reddit. If you ever feel a flicker of lights or your snacks disappear, tell Gary I said hi. Recap update 1 year later, I yelled at my niece's ghost friend and accidentally helped launch a paranormal youth movement. Life is weird now. Hey, Reddit, it's me, Uncle Jake. It's been a whole year since I screamed at an air vent in a cheap motel and told a ghost named Gary to eat himself back to the afterlife. I was just a regular dude. A little cranky, a lot skeptical, prone to overreacting when my toothpaste got haunted. I thought ghosts were movie props, kids were weird, and my niece Ellie was just going through a phase. Narrator, she was not going through a phase. For anyone new and for the folks still tagging me in Gary Fanet, yes, I still frame it. Here's the quick recap. Ellie's 7 at the time, now 8 and emotionally older than the son made friends with a ghost named Gary during our family road trip. Gary was petty, dramatic, obsessed with beef jerky, and possibly my karmic punishment. Over 8 states, he haunted motel vents or got into beefs with other ghosts, and one animatronic battle got ghost therapy from a mountain goat who became TikTok famous who helped launch Hauntwise. Ellie's paranormal mentorship startup. I somehow became VP of logistics and snack procurement for the spiritually displaced. And now, 1 year later, here's what life looks like, Ellie. Now 8 3/4, still terrifying, currently leading a junior paranormal fellowship made up of 3 second graders, 1 librarian, and what may be the ghost of a Victorian postman who only haunts Mondays. She also published a zine called Haunt Heal, which has sold 300 copies on Etsy. I'm not allowed to read Volume 2 because it's for advanced spirits only, Gary. Gone-ish, officially. He moved on, unofficially. Ellie says he checks in sometimes, flickers lights, leaves cryptic doodles in the frost once. My Bluetooth speaker played Careless Whisper in the middle of a staff meeting. That was probably him or HR, hard to say, me. Still Uncle Jake, still skeptical, but lovingly so. I co-host a podcast now called Booze and Boundaries, where we interview people with ghost stories and emotional baggage. Often the same thing. We're currently recording Season 2. My most downloaded episode is still The Bear, the Goat, and the Emotional Afterlife of Gary, my sister. Now calls Ellie CEO of the Spirit Sector, is working on a ghost-friendly app called Haunter, like Tinder. But for lost souls seeking closure or company, my mom joined a senior ghost walking group, think. True crime podcast meets Ouija board and orthopedic shoes. She says her best friend Bernice is definitely being haunted by her ex, but in a flirty way, haunt-wise. Still going strong, Ellie's curriculum is now being used in 3 after-school programs and 1 surprisingly progressive church group. There's even talk of a graphic novel adaptation. Gary's character has a sidekick now, a haunted slushy named Melvin. I get asked a lot, do you? Believe in ghosts now. And honestly, I believe in stories. In the weird little things that connect us. In kids who are wiser than adults. In ghosts who just needed a chance. And in one very specific Slim Jim-loving spirit who showed up at the right or wrong time and never really left. So yeah, I believe in Gary. And I believe in Ellie. If you ever hear a whisper in the vent, or your laundry gets folded suspiciously well, just say thanks. And maybe leave out a Slim Jim. Just in case. If you like these stories and videos, make sure to like, comment, and share so we can make some money from ad revenue and continue getting better and better with our publications. We strive to donate a portion of everything we make to charities that make a difference. Let us know if there is someone or thing you want to support. Thank you for staying until the end and enjoying the story.